All right, let's do it. Santino Ferrucci, driver of the number 14 AJ Foyt Racing Chevrolet. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Santino, I feel like every time I see you doing an interview, you're in some random place. You did like a off-track interview in a garage when you were working on
Yep.
your car, and now you're at a bar?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Off season's been very, very interesting. Kind of all over the place. Just with a couple of my buddies, we're gonna grab some lunch here after this. I'm an hour behind you guys. So yeah, it's about that time. We're gonna play some Golden Tee, and then some golf tomorrow, mixed in with some training. Did some go-karting this weekend. Uh, yeah, trying to live the life a little bit,
Wow.
enjoying the beautiful Dallas weather.
What a rich, robust life. The pride of Woodbury, Connecticut. Woodbury, I don't know if you know this, means a dwelling place in the woods. Did you know that?
I did not, but I grew up on like 8 acres in the woods with four-wheelers, so I feel like
There you
that
go.
checks out.
Did you also know that Rob Zombie briefly lived there?
Yes, somebody did tell me that.
Did you ever see him around
So
town?
I did not, although that does sound pretty sweet that Rob Zombie was there. I mean, there's a couple of cool famous people from Woodbury. Adam LZ is from Woodbury as well.
I
And
don't know who Adam LZ is. Maybe that's me showing my age, but
oh my gosh, he's like a super famous YouTuber,
okay.
drifter, Formula D. Like,
Got it.
yeah, started like a YouTube channel like way back when YouTube was first taking off with like skateboarding and stuff like that, and he turned it into like this massive channel, and now he does Formula D drifting and all sorts of cool stuff.
Have you ever linked up with him?
I've texted with him a couple of times on Instagram, but no, I wanted to get him in the two-seater because I think he'd really enjoy it.
That would be cool. Yeah,
So on my list of things to do.
that's amazing. I don't know if you also knew this. Woodbury, Connecticut is the antiques capital of Connecticut.
Yes, that I did know. So a lot of antique stores, real tough zoning laws because they don't change anything ever.
Yeah,
Uh, I do remember our town did get a Dollar General or a Dollar Tree or something like that, and that was like a
yeah.
really big deal because it was the only like name brand anything in that town.
Oh, wow. I feel like a lot of
Yeah,
Connecticut towns are like that, though.
yeah, big on foliage, big on hometown goods, small stores, mom and pop shops, so all that cool stuff.
Yeah. So you now live in Dallas.
Yes,
I actually grew up in Dallas.
really.
Yeah, but I grew up in Highland Park. But before you judge me, my parents were broke growing up, so like I'm not like a typical like Park Cities person.
Okay,
Um,
so okay, Highland Park's not too far from us, so but I do know what you mean.
yeah, but
So
you spend most of your time in Sunnyvale, which is a little further out, right?
yep, out east, small town, actually kind of similar to Woodbury. So, but we do have a Chick-fil-A, which is sweet, and a
Hey,
Whataburger.
love that. So you've given me a glimpse of what your day is like right now, but typically, what is your off season like when you're not fully immersed into an IndyCar season?
Man, it's kind of all over the place. So like I love working on cars. So I've been working on my vet quite a bit at home. Like I was doing push rods and rockers and stuff like that not too long ago on it. I just shipped everything up north. I'm going on a car rally here next week, the Cannonball Run Rally, which is going to be sweet. And
Awesome.
then I did a kart race this weekend at my local track, DKC, Dallas Karting Complex, or in a shifter, training, playing some golf, hanging out with my wife, cutting the grass, taking care of the dogs. I'm
That's
trying to
awesome.
be a good stay-at-home husband when I'm in off season, since I'm also never home in season.
That's awesome. I don't want to talk too much about your IndyCar career on track. I mainly want to talk about you as a person, but I do briefly want to touch
Yeah.
on it. Your IndyCar debut was in 2018 at age 19. Is that correct? Or were you 20
Yes.
at the time? Yes.
2018, I would have been.
You were
Oh my
born in
gosh.
98. I don't know.
Yeah, so
You
I
were
would have
somewhere
been,
there.
yeah,
You're young.
20. I would have been, I
So,
would have turned 20. So I was 19
okay.
turning 20. Because it was over
So you,
Detroit weekend, which was my first
yeah,
race.
yeah, you were subbing for Pietro Fittipaldi in that race, correct?
Yes.
You drove 4 races for Dale Coyne that year. You then had a full season with Dale Coyne in 19 and 20, but then drove part-time in the series in 21 and 22, returning to the NTT IndyCar Series full-time with AJ Foyt Racing starting in 2023. You're still there.
Yes.
You've said in interviews that you want to be at AJ Foyt Racing indefinitely. You want to win with them. You don't want to like go to a bigger team and win. You want to win with AJ Foyt. Is that partially due to the appreciation and the sense of loyalty that you have to the team for giving you some sense of stability and a permanent home in the series?
That is a big part of it. Also, driving for AJ, driving for Larry, Larry sacrificed a lot to build this team kind of around me. So I feel like it's kind of my team in a sense. He's moved it from Houston up to Indianapolis. We've changed engineering staff. We've changed mechanics. Sponsorship's been changing, which has been good. We've got a really big deal that's, I think, going to be announced soon, which is going to be awesome for next year for a full-time partner. It's just, Larry's done a lot for me, and I feel very loyal to them and to AJ Foyt, to Chevrolet. Also to win, my goal obviously is to win multiple 500s. And I feel like, when you drive for a big top team, it's, expected. But if you also win for AJ in the 14, that's legendary. That's something history will forever remember. And, I want to
kind of like, it's kind of like Dan Weldon winning with Brian Herta.
Yes, it's the exact same thing. So winning both, and honestly, the Jim Beam car is really awesome, and then the Will Rast car was, the creamsicle, man. It's hard to beat that color combination. But I had a huge appreciation. You bring up Dan. I had a huge appreciation for Dan. I met him when I was a kid at a go-kart track, he's actually part of the reason why I'm in IndyCar, believe it or not. So, he introduced me to someone that kind of helped me through Europe and then navigated my return to America in the IndyCar series and kind of set all that up and made the footwork possible. And I wouldn't have had that connection without Dan introducing us.
Have you ever gotten the opportunity to connect with his kids?
I have. And the full circle moment for me meeting his kids, I'll never forget it. It was 2020 Homestead Florida Winter Tour. His kids are about the same age at that point that I was when I met Dan. And I got to talk to Susie, and I was like, you have no idea, like, kind of what this means for me, like this full circle moment, meeting, Dan's kids at a go-kart track, how I met Dan. And it was really like an out-of-body experience. And then, funny enough, this past weekend, I was with Sully, who was, when I was in my second year with Coyne, I was with Vassar Sullivan, and Sully's kid Shep was racing, and we were sitting there on the fence together during the driver meetings, and he was on the grid with me, I was on the grid with him for his race, so it's like, I don't know, just racing community is small like that, and it's really neat, and I really appreciate that side of the sport. It's like a big family.
That's so cool that you're able to pay it forward and sort of give the same like mentorship and tutelage that someone like Dan Weldon gave to you.
Yeah, I mean his kids are doing fantastic too. I think they've got obviously I'm sure I'll be racing with them in IndyCar soon. If not one of them will probably one of them will end up in Formula One. So I think it's Sebastian's. I see him on iRacing sometimes. I mean, he is like seconds ahead he's like professional on iRacing. It blows my mind. I was like, I think wild. I'm good, and then he's like in another world of his own.
Speaking of meeting drivers that you admired growing up, you recently had a very long interview with Dale Earnhardt Jr. What was it like being interviewed by someone that you grew up looking up to so much?
It's so cool to me, how personable, and how nice Dale is. I mean, it's just like one of those things you don't really expect. Same with Jimmy Johnson. I got to spend some time with him the other week, and just how cool and down to earth those guys are, because they don't need to be. Even Jeff Gordon. I mean, all those guys are just so cool, so humble, so nice. But I was telling Dale, I was like, dude, I still have Dale's mouse pad on my simulator in the Budweiser car, the 8. That is my mouse pad for my simulator. I've had that thing for as long as I can remember. And like I said, I grew up with the race car bed. He was my wallpaper around my room. Like I had posters of him and Jimmy. You know, it was just like crazy. And to be invited to be on his podcast, I was like, someone's got to pinch me a little bit. So, and then like having him in the garage, sitting down, talking with him at AJ, just surreal moments. Just so cool with me.
Is there any chance you're going to take him up on his offer to take you and Connor Daly to dinner?
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I'd rather go play golf. I even though Dale doesn't play, it'd be a lot of fun to go out and hit the links a little bit and try to hit some balls forward.
Yeah, maybe he could be your caddy the way Tony Kanaan was Christian Lundgaard's caddy.
Oh my God, yeah, that'd be something else. That'd be special.
You talked about this in that interview. A stat that you have said that you hate is the fact that you've finished in the top 10 in every Indy 500 you've raced in. 7 starts in the 500 since 2019. 7 top 10s, most notably 4th place in 2020 and 3rd place in 2023. Why do you hate that stat so much?
I would trade every single one of those and that stat in for a win in a heartbeat. You know, I've been so close to that race so many times. I know it's coming. I know the problem is like, I know I can finish in the top 5. I know I can finish in the top 10. I know I can win this race. I'm missing that last little bit there. This year was a tough one. We had the side pod blowing off for 120 laps. I pitted on the last stop right behind Pillow. The redhead got stuck, and that's what kind of dropped us back. So, you know, I had probably one of the worst months of May in my career this past May, and we still finished 5th. So I can't wait for it to just go right without drama, without hiccups. It's going to be special.
Now, I've watched a lot of interviews with different drivers, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of drivers don't want to talk about specifics of racing. But after watching your interview a few months ago on Off Track, it seems like that all you want to talk about is racing. You were talking specifics about your fuel save at Road America, and I saw you light up in a way that I have not seen you light up in other interviews.
Dude, I don't know. I grew up around cars. It blows my mind when race car drivers aren't into cars or into motors or into engineering or mechanics. Right. Because that is the life. I mean, I have a massive tool chest. I work on everything. I love wrenching. My hands are all cut up and beat up from working on my shifter cart all weekend. Like, you know, it's just I don't know what I would do if I didn't have anything to work on or anything to wrench or anything to drive. I do drive a Silverado 2500 because that keeps me out of trouble. On a daily basis. I love cars. I love everything about my job. I love the fact that, you know, Road America is my favorite track. That fuel save race, you know, I love a challenge. And as much as I really hated my engineers saying, hey, you need to make 16 laps work on a 13 lap tank. I was like, I'll make it happen. I was like, give me the uphill battle. I'm here for it.
I'm going to reference this, and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I want to say there's a great clip I found of you online at 13 years old getting interviewed at a Sprint Cup qualifying at Watkins Glen with Tony Stewart. How the heck did you end up there?
Oh man, that interview is hilarious. I probably watch that interview 3 times a year because someone's like, do you remember this? Have you seen this?
Yeah.
And so back when I was a kid, I was probably 10. I was probably 10 or 11 years old. When Lewis Hamilton did the seat swap with Tony Stewart. At that point, when I was racing over in England, I was part of the McLaren young driver development thing. So like they were training us, and they were super nice and helpful. And obviously, I've been a huge Lewis Hamilton fan in Formula One. I was a huge Schumacher fan. And then when he retired, my next driver that I loved was Lewis because of what he was able to do with McLaren and him fighting with Ferrari and Raikkonen. I just thought was raw racing. And
Yeah.
So when I got the opportunity to go to this seat swap, I was thrilled. I got to meet Tony. I got to meet his handler and manager at the time, Eddie Jarvis, and I stayed in touch. They invited me back out for multiple races. I was learning how to set tire pressures, mark tires with my buddy Jet, and do all the dynamics because tires is a huge deal in NASCAR.
Yeah.
And so I just loved it. I loved the fact that I got to push the car out with the guys. Like they gave me a shirt, all the NASCAR officials kind of were like, oh, because super underage. I was like 4 feet tall. Obviously not allowed on the grid, not allowed to do any of this. But they were like,
also, your voice was several octaves higher.
Yeah, it was. And when I did that interview, like before that interview, I distinctly remember talking to Tony. And I was like, are you going to wear your sunglasses? He's like, yeah. I was like, cool. Can I wear my sunglasses? He was like, yeah. And he kind of lit that fire in me. Like, I'm going to see him tomorrow. I'm doing a charity event in Euless for bowling because he's now doing the drag race and stuff. And I'm going to go out to the drag race event in Ennis. And, I love Tony. He's such a cool dude. And he kind of took me to all these races and I got to hang out with him and spend he was the first Cup driver that I actually got to spend a lot of time with and have a huge appreciation for. And that interview is that will forever live on as like the greatest all-time Santino Ferrucci clips. that one will never die, unfortunately, as much as I hate watching it back because I feel like such a child, but that one will never die.
I think we all cringe at younger versions of ourselves, so it's all good. I think it's a very cute clip.
I don't know if I describe it as cute, but I appreciate that.
But I want to briefly talk about some of your karting career as a child. You've raced against some of the drivers who are currently on the grid. You raced in karts against Pato, Devlin DeFrancesco. You even raced against Lance Stroll in 2008. Do you still keep up with Kyle Kalish, and would you consider him your biggest childhood rival?
Oh my gosh, Kyle Kalish. Man, that's going back to the WKA days, racing him in Comer, HPV. Neither of us were good in Yamaha for some reason, because you used to have people that ran Yamaha. But going back, WKA, he was 100% was one of my biggest rivals. But we were friends too, which was great.
Oh, really? He won the 2009 World Karting Association Manufacturers Cup Cadet Championship, where you got second.
Yes.
But he's now a pro gravel cyclist. But was it a bitter rivalry was it a bitter rivalry as children, or were you guys friends and just competitive on track?
We were friends and competitive on track. It was it was really fun. I didn't do a lot of the club races where you could replace a DNF with a win. Okay. And the HPV championship, I think I lost by like a point or two because I got disqualified over what could potentially be the dumbest disqualification of my career. There is a small spacer between the carburetor. I'll never forget this because I've been disqualified in karting 3 times in my life, and I remember every single one distinctively. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The spacer that goes between, it's probably about 1/2 inch thick, maybe 3/4 of an inch. It's supposed to be anodized red. So it mic'd fine, which is, it's a restrictor. So the sizing was perfectly fine and legal. But because it was so old, it was kind of, the anodizing was wearing off from all the fuel, and it was pink. And they disqualified me for the color.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
They disqualified me for the color.
And that's why you ended up finishing second?
That is part of it, yeah, because it reset my weekend from starting on, and that was at Road America, the go-kart track there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, dude, I remember all 3 of them very distinctly. One of them wasn't too long ago, was for Squish in KA100 Seniors in 2021, and then the first one was at a place called The Track. It was like the 2006 or 7 Mini Max or Rotex Grand Nationals, and I got disqualified for a spark plug boot because the last digit was an A instead of an F. So non-performance.
What does that even mean?
Uh, I don't even know. It was a JICA boot instead of a Mini Max boot because JICA was a thing back in the karting days. And anybody that grew up karting in that era will remember JICA.
I've never karted, so like you're speaking the foreign language to me right now.
It's basically what K100 is, but it was back in like 2000, early 2000s. So just everybody had like 8 JICA motors because they blew up all the time. So we just had a ton of JICA parts, and I guess the engine builder, I had my motor tech the week before, and it passed. So when I got disqualified, I was like really heartbroken. And there's a really good story for another time about that. But I'll never forget that weekend, too, because I was coming through the field every heat race to finish in the top 5. And I was with Pietro on this weekend and with Emerson Fittipaldi. And Emerson looked at me and he said, "You have big," because all I did was hit people out of the way and did whatever I could to get to the front every single race.
Wow. And then he offered you a glass of orange juice.
Probably. I don't remember that much, but I'll never forget him telling me I had big.
That's hilarious.
As a 7-year-old.
That's so funny. You've also raced against a bunch of other drivers in the series. You raced against Colton Herta, Skip Barber. You also raced in karts against Alex Palou when you were just 14 or 15 years old. Also against Callum Ilott and Robert Schwartzman, Zachary Clement DeMello. I tried to watch some of the races online, but it's just a dude yelling in Italian, so I had no idea what was going on.
George Russell, Lando Norris, all those guys. I mean, at one point, my grid growing up in Europe when I was in Formula Cars and karts to Formula Cars was like half of the F1 grid. It was ridiculous. So
you split a lot of time in Europe growing up. Do you ever feel like you missed out on like a traditional childhood in the United States, given that you were traveling so much?
I do. Part of me kind of regrets not having a normal childhood, but part of me is also really thankful for the opportunity. Because as a kid, you don't really know any better. I mean, I was missing 80 days of school a year, taking backpacks full of homework with me on the I used to get made fun of in school because, I was a straight A student. And everyone's like, well, you don't have to do the work. And I was like, think again. Like, I come home with backpacks full of folders and binders of work that I had to do and cram in on the planes so I could pass. And I worked really hard for everything, but I didn't get to do like all the fun sleepovers or, I don't really keep in touch with anyone I went to school with. Just because I also went to a really small public school in Woodbury. So, and I dropped out my sophomore year of high school. Didn't say drop out. I got kicked out because I missed so many days. I was able to bring down the average attendance for the school district for my year, which means that if they don't hit a certain average, they lose state funding. Yep. So I got told to switch to online school, where I did online school, got my GED, and taught myself, essentially.
And look at you now. You're doing all right.
I'm happy. I can't complain. I'm very blessed with my life. I have a fantastic wife, 3 great dogs. Love the fact that I live in Dallas. So I'm driving for AJ Foyt, who's a living legend. So no complaints.
Santino, we're almost done. I'm going to do like a rapid fire list of questions, and then we'll wrap it up. If that's cool with you. I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask again one more time. What is your favorite IndyCar track that you've driven?
That I've driven? Man, Road America. Got to be Road America.
Is it because of the track, or is it because of the podium, or a combo
the track.
of the two?
I love that track. I truly, that has got to be, in my opinion, top 3 tracks in the world for me. Road America, Spa are my top 2. Third, probably Monza. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Where would you love IndyCar to go next?
I want to go back to Japan. I want to go to Japan.
Dude, I love Japan.
I love the culture. I love
Yeah.
how they're such big fans of racing. I love talking to Takuma about it. I would love to see IndyCar back in Japan.
You were both on RLL for the 500 one year, right?
Yeah.
You guys being
Oh yeah.
Did you get a lot of FaceTime with him? Did you get to talk to Takuma Sato a lot?
I mean, he's so special in his own way. Just getting the chance to like try and understand his progression as a driver and how easy he is to work with. Also at Indy, I mean, he literally lives by the no attack, no chance. And I love that because I loved Senna and I loved if you don't go for the gap, you're no longer a racing driver. And I felt like Takuma was also a full embodiment of that. So it was really cool to be teammates with him and Graham at the same time.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's interesting you said Japan because Christian Rasmussen also said Japan for where he wants IndyCar to go.
I mean, we're talking not outside the States. In the States, I'd love to go to Homestead or Richmond or Loudon for stateside. But if I had to pick out of the States country, Japan all the way.
Yeah, I love Japan. My wife and I went there for our honeymoon. It's the best.
Oh, really? I tried to convince my wife to go there for our honeymoon. I got vetoed. Awesome. We went to Europe. I mean, listen, I travel and life revolves around me a lot of the time. I was like, this is your trip, babe. Like, you plan it how you want.
That's awesome. Next question. What is the weirdest thing you've ever signed?
Oh my God. Maybe not weirdest, coolest. There's a guy, I'm blanking on his name, but he has a tattoo of my Indy 500 car on his arm.
Which year?
I have the 2023.
Cool.
And it is got to be, all right, it is a little weird, but I think it's so cool. Like, I love that. So I'm a huge fan, and I love the fact I got to sign his arm.
That's awesome. Do you think he also got your signature tattooed under the car?
I hope so. I thought he was going to do that. I mean, that was the whole point of signing his arm. It's like Joseph Newgarden's biggest fan. You know, the really tall guy that walks around.
His name's Greg, and he's does
Greg.
rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was out with him after the season finale race in Nashville this year, and he picked me up, and I thought he was going to throw me over the balcony. He's so tall. I felt like I joined a different zip code, but I love him. He is amazing.
He's a trip. I think it's also very cool that he has Joseph and his entire crew over for barbecue on Long Beach weekend.
I love that, dude. I text with him on Instagram now because obviously he's a big Chevrolet person. We both have trucks, so yeah, he's great.
Next up, aside from anyone at AJ Foyt, which pit crew would assemble IKEA furniture the fastest?
Penske.
Which any car
which
specifically?
One? 12 car crew.
Okay. 12 car
100%.
Crew.
Yeah.
Great. You're going on a road trip with any three current IndyCar drivers. Who is in your car with you?
Stingray, Pato, and Willpower.
All right, that's a good car. What is the last TV show you binged?
Oh my gosh, Mobland.
Mobland. I've never seen Mobland.
I watched the whole thing in one sitting.
What is Mobland? I don't even know that.
It's James Hardy. It's like Peaky Blinders, essentially.
Oh, okay, got
but
it.
Slightly more modern. Yeah, I sat down. I think I was in Iowa, and I turned it on. I got there a whole day early because I was driving around a massive John Deere. I forget the combine. Yeah. And I had nothing to do the next day, so I turned it on and I watched all 8 or 10 episodes in one sitting, which was like 11 hours.
Love it.
So bad. But it was so good.
Let's take an opportunity to talk about Fox's incredible suite of original programming. Who would most likely win the Masked Singer on the IndyCar grid?
Elio
Castroneves, okay.
Yeah.
Who would win Lego Masters?
Lego Masters? Oh my gosh, I love Legos.
You can say
I
yourself if you want.
Yeah, maybe myself. I mean, yeah, I build all those the really big 1/10 or 1/8 scale
The
cars.
Technic
Those Lego
ones?
Technics, yeah,
Yeah.
the Technics.
Those take a while, though, right?
For me, yes. But I have a friend back home in Connecticut, Jeff, and he has a Lego room, and he'll build those Technics in like 6 or 7 hours. And I was just like, I don't understand. It takes me like 6 or 7 hours to lay out all the parts.
You know Lundgaard is obsessed with Legos, right?
I did not.
Yeah.
So probably him then.
And
if
he's
obsessed.
Danish, so it's like it's in his blood, you know.
There you go.
But he has Legos all over his house.
That is neat.
Who would what IndyCar driver would most likely win Special Forces World's Toughest Test? It's where they do like Navy SEAL training.
Damn, that's tough. I'd probably say Newgarden.
Everybody has said Newgarden. Every
mean,
single person.
I don't know. He's a bit of a freak of nature with training, and I was like, you don't need to be any bigger, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
who?
yeah.
What driver is most likely to be on the show Farmer Wants a Wife?
Stingray. He wasn't married. Come on.
Great. All right. Hollywood's making a movie about your career. Who's playing you?
Matthew McConaughey.
Love it. What is the best fast food chain in America?
Best fast food chain in America? Chick-fil-A.
Who is the most famous person in your phone?
Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt, maybe. Probably.
Those
Tony
are
Stewart.
pretty big names. Yeah, those are all big names. Do you actually read the comments on your social media posts?
Oh, you're going to love this. You can't comment on my Instagram unless you've been following me for 2 weeks.
What? I didn't even know that was
Yeah.
a setting you could do.
Yep. So, because I get a lot of hate comments, and I was just really tired of. I was honestly more to troll people. I set it up so you can't comment on my page, but you can comment on my Twitter. My Twitter feed's hilarious.
Do you read a lot of your Twitter replies?
No, but my friends send me screenshots of the good ones, and then we have a group text that goes back and forth, and we joke about it. One of my buddies commented at Connor Daly, and I think it riled him up because he commented back at him. It's fun.
Right on. Well, Santino Ferrucci, driver of the number 14 AJ Foyt Racing Chevrolet, thank you so much for joining me.
Man, thank you so much for having me on. It's been I'm happy you got to see a little bit of Dallas again, even though you're from here. We got Chris Kyle in the background, the legend.
Right on.
So
awesome.
we are at his one of his local spots. So,
that's so cool.
I'm about to go play some Golden Tee and with my buddies, and then I'm going to a charity event tonight for my little town. National Night Out, baby.
Oh, that's awesome.